Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic, less known classics. This is episode number 2597 and episode number 2491. We have two very popular DC books. One is still publishing, the other one is not publishing anymore because of stuff related to a crossover that happened. Okay, first one we have is Nightwing by Tom Taylor, Volume 4, The Leap. That's the name of this book. This collects Nightwing Volume 4, issues 97-100, and they say the 2022 annual. It's actually annual number 5. Heck, I've complained about this several times when I talk about DC solicits. DC refused to put numbers in annuals for reasons. The 2022 annual, which is the most recent annual that came out, which is about 2 years ago now, it's the 5th annual for this volume. Yes, it's annual 5. For some reason, they just do not want to call it annual 5. They call it 2022 annual. Heck, people agree with me on this. This is an absolute stupid idea. But the whole thing with this storyline leads into the issue that is 100. So, this kind of continues the Heartless storyline that doesn't do much after this. Because after this story wraps up and appearing and also the end, which explains Heartless's backstory, he appears like 2 more times after this, and that's been it. I've heard claims the story isn't finished. That's kind of true. The storyline's not finished yet. So we get many things resolved here, and I do mean a lot of things. And as reference, by the way, this book has writers. We have 3 writers in this. We have Tom Taylor, Jay Kristoff, and C.S. Paskett. Art by Bruno Reddito, Danielle Di-Nuccio, Scott McDaniel, which great to see this guy back on the book again. Probably since Chuck Dixon's run. Rick Leonardi, Eddie Barrows, Javier Fernandez, Mikel Janin, Geraldo Borges, Eduardo Prisca, Eka Bardia. The cover art for you see straight here is Bruno Reddito and Andrea Lucas. There's also a phrase from issue 100, a friend of mine, like, he thought he saw in the book. And I looked it up. Like, what's changed for the trade? No, it's exactly the same. So, maybe he misremembered? So, yeah. So, we start out basically where we have this guy called Marioni. He's like, oh yeah, he's got like a drink. They're like, oh yeah, I work for, basically, police work for him, and the fact he works for, by the way, he's talking to Maggie Sawyer, who's the commissioner of the Bloodhaven Police Department. Yes, for some reason, Tom Taylor put in Bloodhaven, despite the fact, you see, here's the thing, Maggie Sawyer has been moving around for the last several years. Ever since her day back in the 80s, she was basically an officer, she was basically a detective for the Metropolis Crime Unit, which Superman gets involved with it, for the longest time. And then around 06, I think it was 07, they moved to the Gotham City, and she was there up until about a few years ago, where at one point she was even the commissioner of the Gotham Police Department for a very brief period of time. Yeah, she took over after they put the crooked internal affairs guy in charge, which every time I saw this guy, I'm like, I don't care the fact he's a police officer. Batman, punch him in the face because he has such a punchable face. And now she's commissioner of the police department. She's here with, I think this is supposed to be Dan Turpin, but they don't really say. It's like, oh yeah. And the fact I said he works for Blockbuster, but he just died in the previous story arc. And of course, basically, Nightwing tells the mayor, who's actually his sister, by the way, he tells her, he didn't want this at all. He had no desire to kill him. He just died. And in fact, him being dead. By the way, second time ever in comic books. Second time in a Nightwing comic he's died. The first time he got killed by Tarantula. And then the Tarantula decided to rape Nightwing right afterwards. Right after she just murdered Blockbuster. Here, it's Heartless basically rips out his heart. Blockbuster also this thing during Chuck Dixon's run where he had, a lot of the time because of how big the guy is, he always had a problem with his heart because of his size. So at one point he got a heart transplant, and then later on Devin Grayson killed him off about 2 years into her run. In a very controversial issue. At least that didn't happen here. One thing I at least appreciate about DC Comics in the last decade is that Tarantula is nowhere near this book. As a matter of fact, in this continuity, Nightwing has never met Tarantula. Though the way Blockbuster's written here is weird. Like, Tim Seeley brought this version in, and then he was taken care of at the end of the run, and then he returns this one where he's back in charge, and it's like, you're not run that Tim Seeley did in this book? Yeah, just ignore that. Basically pretend that he's written like the way he was during Chuck Dixon's run. Now he's dead. And it's talking about Power Vacuum. So, yeah, he's dead. And of course, he's being visited by Renee Montoya. Yes. Who was, like Maggie Sawyer, a detective. Also, fun fact, both these two ladies both dated the same woman. Yep, that is 100% completely true. That's the one thing, besides the fact they're former police detectives and being commissioners, that they have in common. They both dated the same woman, but they don't know they did that. Yeah, first it was Renee dating Kate, and then it was Maggie. At one point, these two got engaged. And then they had to deal with screw it up because, oh, no superheroes gotta be married. Because that was a stupid idea, and because rumor has it that basically Jeff Johns left Aquaman because of that comment. An absolute stupid idea. And plus the whole thing that there was a controversy by one small group criticized this, and this caused Dan DiDio to change his mind. That caused that stupid comment to come in the first place. Yeah. So, he's brought in, of course, we have where Barbara is still being a supporting character in this book, and of course they deal with him being broken out by... And of course you have Nightwing and Batgirl come in. By the way, Batgirl is wearing the outfit she wore during the Babs Tar run. The run itself, people have problems. Some people have no problem with the costume. The costume people have a problem with was the costume that came after that became after this one. The problem with the costume she had during the latter half of her previous ongoing series was the mask. I had a problem with the mask. The suit itself was fine. I had no problem with the suit. The suit looked great. It's the mask I had a problem with, because Batgirl has always had a cowl for years. The only time Batgirl did not have a cowl, Barbara Gordon, was during the Frank Miller's All-Star Batman Robin Boy Wonder, where she has another mask there. But at least that one covers more of her face, because the one she had in that book, in the run that came after the original writer left, very tiny Dama mask. Like, it was so tiny and it looked so horribly drawn. And yet apparently people in the public apparently accepted this was her mask. Like, yeah, it's a tiny line. You call this a mask? It was an absolute stupid idea. And this mask popped up in Heroes in Crisis, believe it or not. You can at least gotta praise Tom Tiller for this. Put it back in the previous costume, which was a lot better. Now, I also like the first costume she had in this continuity, but then once Gail Simone left, that costume got destroyed when a van caught on fire, because for some strange reason, Barbara left her costume in this van, and her costume was destroyed, so she created this brand new costume that I've heard zero complaints about this costume. So, yeah, rescues Martini. And then, okay, so Nightwing trains the guy, oh, is he asleep? Oh, Titans have agreed to look at Bloodhaven and Harley. 3 days in isolated bunker, and Woods is perfect. Really? The mob house downstairs doesn't hurt the vibe? You tranked them, right? Sure, you see what happens. This is perfect. So, basically, Barbara and Dick decide to have sex. Yep. Okay, so, it's like, good morning. It's like, I never thought superheroes in relationships. Yeah, it's so funny. Also, we see the back of Batgirl's costume, which I don't think I've ever seen this before, the back of her costume, because normally she has her cape on. I at least gotta praise the artist for this. Who's the artist for this issue? This was the artist of this one is Bruno Medardo. Yes, thank you, Bruno, for showing the back of Batgirl's costume, because I don't think this has ever been shown before. Not that I could think of, no. Anybody in the comments below, like, did anybody ever see the back of this costume before? I thought this was a really neat idea. So, like, oh yeah, there's no roads. And then something stupid happens. A cab shows up, and it's Rick Grayson. You're like, what? Rick Grayson? Oh no, not that bullcrap thing. Because of the whole stupid idea Danny Dale hated all the dick jokes. That was the reason for this character's, the reason this version takes existence. Even has the freaking scar. Yep. And then we have this thing, this little girl is like witnessing stuff. And then it's like, you recognize me? Nope. Like, of course, Dick's like, okay. It's like, oh yeah, and then of course, then he just changes into the early '90s costume. Like, not really. And it turns out he is Nightmite, a fifth dimensional imp. So he's like Mixie Mixapick and Batmite. I'm like, so Nightwing has got his own version of this damn thing. Okay, and this issue is pure comedy gold. So like, ooh, so charismatic. Like, Batgirl, wow. I mean, I shift with Starfire, but when it makes him happy, I guess. She's like, excuse me? Speaking of, which of you two have had, will they, won't they going on? Oh, clearly, yes, they will. Because progression, and then all of a sudden, a bunch of superheroes get summoned to a forced wedding of Batgirl and Nightwing. You're like, what? And of course, like, everyone's like confused about this. So, in this scene here, we have Superman and John. Though my friend Timmy does not like this version of John because he's an adult, not a little kid. Roy Harper, Beast Boy, Cyborg, Aqualad, Raven, Don Troy. Duke is here, though he's on the spine. Starfire, Miss Martian, Stephanie Brown. I'm thinking that's Wally under the mask. I'm not sure. It could be Barry, but I think it's Wally. Batman, Cassie Kane, Kate Kane. No, we're not relation, basically, because Cassie's last name begins with C, Kate begins with K. Huntress, Red Hood, Tim Drake, and Robin. And you have Batgirl wearing a wedding dress. And it's like, no, not yet. Not yet. And of course you have Batman just something is like, you developed an imp. Wait, Batman, are you really here? Look, he may not be your father of the year, but it's your wedding. He's like, we don't have time for this. This has been a triple homicide. So bleak. I don't understand the Batmite. And he goes up the way. It's like, are you sure you want to see the dog? Bitewing as a ring bearer? I am adorable. Yes, sure. Yes, so... and then, of course, for some reason, like... Okay, so... Then we have it where it's like, ooh, to stop what's happened here, Blockbuster's building. Sorry to say he's not home. Blockbuster's been gone for her, but he's left behind. Years ago, Blockbuster made a deal with the devil Necron and asked for great intellect. But I guess if he had great intellect, he asked before it, who would he have imagined before? The upside he sold his soul. At some stage years later, Necron, thank you for coming and proposal for you. He was never negotiated. Negotiate how? He still knows his soul. His firstborn, Olivia, who was your biggest fan, Nightwing. And for some reason, like, oh, I'm your biggest fan, invite my fan club. We have t-shirts. So, yeah, the t-shirt is basically based upon an old, basically Batman Robin panel where Batman slapped Robin back in the 50s. Look at Upshot. Blockbuster's gone. Necro's him collect. He's in a horde of demons. So over to Underworld is like, okay, so somebody might be thinking, like, Did this whole deal between Necron and uh, Blockbuster happen in this book? Nope. Not that I could think of, no. But it seems interesting, though. Necron? Really? Oh, it's a scene for World's Finest 193, so. Yeah, and Livia's posted how much from. Oh, this volume's issues. Okay, so. Necron. I'm like, when did he meet him? Like. It seems interesting, though, Neron is actually in this book. Yeah. The only thing I can think of, like, a deal for intelligence, I'm thinking this probably happened under World Unleashed. Yeah, I'm guessing it probably happened there, but I don't. It may have happened there. I'm not sure. So, yeah, offered his firstborn child. Yes. So apparently in this continuity, Blockbuster is a parent. Olivia Desmond. Oh, and apparently her mother is Jezebel Jet. You're thinking, who the heck is Jezebel Jet? Jezebel Jet is a character from the Black Glove story arc. Yeah, so she's a Grant Morrison character, and thanks to a retcon, apparently she's the mother. Somehow. So, we'll discuss that later. So, yeah, it's a dog, and of course they go. Basically, it's like, oh, let's battle demons. And then, like, in issue 99, where, like, then apparently things is similar from Salvador Marioni, which I believe this is the same guy who caused Two-Face's scar in the pre-Flashpoint. They changed it to some ladies. Mass arrest. It's like, what is this? Do you know who I am? Yes, Congressman. We know exactly who you are. So, across the country, a bunch of crooked cops being arrested, along with, okay, they mentioned, like, when they say blows like it's around corruption ever seen. 64 members of law enforcement can council on politicians, crime bosses, and government officials. Congratulations, Mayor Zuko. I'm proud of you, kid. You're the last one standing. Tony. Is Tony now? Yeah. So, yeah, and then of course they leashes Double Dare, which I think are like old Nightwing villains. I'm like, okay, so Tony Zuko's here to bring in Double Dare. Excuse me. Although, yes, they are Chuck Dixon creations, but they have appeared in this book before. In issue 68 of this very volume. Oh, it's the stuff with talent, so that was the first time they showed up. But I could say this is more of a proper appearance of the characters. Yeah, you could say so. Yeah, but yeah, they first appeared in issue 32 of of Nightwing Volume 2. Yep. Except they appear a little bit more than, let's say, this book. Yeah, it's like, okay, so, and then like Heartless shows up in here while Tony Zuko deals with Nightwing. Like, oh, here's the hold. Like, unlock safe 78, which I think that's an Easter egg for the first issue that Tom Taylor did for the books. Like, the Eye of Kala was like, oh, we're 4 million. And then, of course, this guy, Old Man, gets shot, and then Nightwing fights Double Dare. In this really good two-page spread, which is awesome, this pirate ship. And then, like, Zuko. And then, basically, like, Nightwing beats him up because he murdered his parents. Like, don't move. The hole does not let go. We'll deal with a thief. I don't know who you are, but he's going to jail. The city is going to punish him. Who really fight this man's life? Absolutely not. It doesn't matter what I want. That is right. Let him go, Captain. Quartermaster. You are aided the whole, and you're free to take him, Nightwing. The city received evidence of his thievery and violence. And do I use for this? 538, 538. It's never say that belongs to you in the whole. What's in it? It's your safe. Someone established it for you. Deal with Zuko, we'll talk in future. So, he gets arrested. So, yeah, so Melinda decides to alter her birth certificate, where apparently her mother or her father was actually Jonathan Grayson. And it's like, you're my daughter, Melinda Zuko. Not anymore. It's Mayor Melinda Grayson Lynn. Goodbye. So yeah, Tony Zuko's put in jail. It's like, okay, are we finished here? Nope. So Heartless proceeds to break him out of jail, kill several criminals, and leads into issue 100, which apparently this is where a lot of the stuff. So we have this tower built in the middle. We have this tower built in the middle of the city. Like, apparently it's some prison, but not really. So Barbara stays behind being Oracle. So KG Beast is broken out of jail. It's like, totally. The KG Beast. Who are you? The city named me Heartless. Not pretty way. He did. He's been holding his city together. We're going to pull it together and come apart running. I was thinking he could run to you. He's like, he gives him his mask. He's like, yes. Huh, can you hear me there? I can hear you. I'm going to let you, but I'd like to do something in return. What? You've been stuck a very nice long time. You must be restless and angry. Yes. Do you want to take a fresh around the city? Gladly. Sure with this, boss? I'm sure. Release him. And it's an Elephant Man. Yes, seriously. An Elephant Man in this book. Like, what? Yes, seriously. An Elephant Man in issue 100. Some of you thinking, who the heck is the Elephant Man? Like, oh my gosh. Like, this is a guy who's been gone for a long time. Like, here's the thing. His first appearance was in February August number 5. And then he pops up in this book. Let's see. This came out in January. So yeah, basically this was his first appearance in a comic book since 2014. So yeah, it had been 9 years since his debut appearance. So he died apparently his debut, and then he just returns here. And some of you thinking, is he a character from pre-Flashpoint? Yes, he is. Oh gosh, yes, he is. He's a Jeff Johns character. Yep. And he appeared in like a few issues of Teen Titans, appeared in the Green Arrow with Black Cat Wedding Special, and Justice League Cry for Justice number 2. Yeah, he's not the big a villain. So, he's unleashed in the city. So, like, and then we have a flashback of Dick Grayson with the Graysons, them wearing the 80s disco costume. And then it looks like the outfit he wore during Chuck Dixon run. This during the Kyle Higgins run, which I have heard Dan DiDio was regretted doing this. And then we have the outfit from this run to come back to present day, where he fights Heartless's goons. And it's like, oh, you're all alone. Yeah. And of course he gets help from the Titans. Yep, the Titans. Titans go. And it's like, so yeah, basically we have Beast Boy take out Elephant Man and wins. And like, then we have, what's this? This, Mr. Zuko, has been a fun. A reminder of blame it can't be controlled. We're not gonna be changing anything today. But yes, today it was largely meeting you. What? Why? What about me? I was hoping we could work together. I am such a fan. You're Tony Zuko. You changed my life. You're the man who killed the Flying Graysons. And of course, like, oh yeah, then we have Nightwing battle KG Beast, which is the first time he's battled him since the last time he fought was actually just prior to Tom Taylor taking on the books. Like, oh yeah, it's like, you're outnumbered. Really? Nope. Here comes Titans to basically beat the crap out of these goons. And then Superman and Wonder Woman show up. Yeah, and the reason why they're here, oh, here, no, not really. And then we cut to the Hall of Justice. So I am presuming that Dark Crisis happened between pages. So the Hall of Justice is in ruins because of Dark Crisis. So the Justice League's been disbanded. So this is where the Titans come in. It's like, oh yeah, you basically in the chair, and of course, basically like they have where we have Nightwing and Batman at Alfred's grave. They hug, and like, okay, so yeah, and then of course he like takes the prisons being built, and then it makes it into something else. And then we have a press conference a month later, and it's like, okay, we have new Guardians, the Titans, and they establish base operations, which we see that currently the Titans by Tom Taylor. Then we have the Titans. Then we have annual number 5, not the 2022 annual. Nightwing annual number 5. I'm calling it that. I'm not calling it 22 annual. We get basically a flashback to the guy who is Heartless. He's a guy named Sheldon who basically just, this is basically his backstory in just the first story. The second's like Night Out. That's basically we have just with a dog, and then we have Nightwing, we have Barbara and Dick, and they run into Catwoman, Mr. Freeze, and Poison Ivy. Though Poison Ivy's in her pre-Flashpoint attire. Catwoman is also like that, and so Mr. Freeze. So they fight them, and of course they get taken captive. All about the end of Bloodhaven, and of course Nightmare, and of course they ever gets beaten. They have this new park donated. Furthermore, International Cat Day is outlawed and named Harley's Day in honor of the what? So Harley the dog, the three-legged dog, apparently destroyed looks like he's tearing up a lot of stuff. He tore up a plant, a toy, a globe. Looks like he tore up believe it or not, a Nintendo Switch controller. Looks like a Xbox controller. And he's not punished for it. Apparently he tore up the couch too. And last story is basically like Dick racing. Then we have where you have Dick basically be a mentor to John for this issue. It's pretty good. This book was a lot of fun. This book was really, really good. Give this book a 10 out of 10. It was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. A friend of mine basically dropped it because of a line that Dick said. Didn't say it there. Was not in these issues. I'm not sure where he saw it, but it was not in these issues. Maybe it was earlier. Alright, so next we have is Justice League America Bronze Age Omnibus Volume. We have this monster of a book. Now, excuse me. There will be some skipping here. Yes, so here we go. So, issues 77 through 95. I am not going to discuss issues because I've discussed issues already. Now, most of these issues are written by pretty much all, like the basically issues 96 through 99 is around Mike Frederick. Nightwing starts issue 100, and he pretty much does not point forward. The artwork is mostly by Dick Dillon. Also some artwork by Mike Sawalski. Gardner Fox does issue number 97. Now, what happens in these issues? Well, in issue 96, they fight a villain named Starbreaker. Now, the reason I skip over a lot of these issues is basically this much here. Why am I skipping over this much for? Because that was already collected in Justice League America, Last Survivors of Earth. This is basically the second half of that story. So, they fight a guy called Starbreaker, and of course, the exclusive Go-Day stories of Hawkman, Owlman, and Wildcat. Those are reprints. Hawkman is probably from Flash Comics, and Wildcat's probably from Snitch Comics. So, yeah. So, those are just reprints. So, they fight a villain named Starbreaker in this issue, which, let me take a look. I think this may have been his debut. Let's see. Was this his debut? Yes. This was definitely his debut. And of course, he gets an appearance by Adam Strange. Yeah, this is his debut. And he does his cosmic vampire. So he basically appears for these 3 issues here. And then he does not appear again until Action Comics 650. It's a quick 3-part story arc that just happens to feature him in these issues. Of course, there's Hawkgirl, Staggeron, Supergirl appearing in these issues as well. Really good 3-part story here. Yeah. So we deal with him for basically issues 96, 97. 99 is basically a standalone issue. Seeds of Destruction, which is basically him fighting aliens for a standalone issue. And then issue 100 begins one of the annual Justice League and JSA team-ups. Where this is a 3-part also follows 7 Soldiers Victory, where there was this mysterious grave of this unknown 7 soldier who died. And throughout this story, we find out it's actually a character named Wing. Yep, Wing. Who is Wing, you might ask? He was a character who was a psychic to the Crimson Avenger. It was his psychic. And this issue pretty much revealed his death. Yep, that's mostly put exactly what this is. Yeah, he dies in flashback. That's the story for this one. But it's a really good 3-parter. And this is going to lead me to, like I said, with the 100th issue of the series. And then after basically this amazing 3-parter. And then at the end we have the apparent death of Red Tornado. But he comes back. Oh, don't worry about that. And then in basically 103 is a Halloween issue, which is a indirect crossover with Thor. And Amazing Adventures. Yeah. Because Lee was writing the books at the time, so we have indirect crossover 3 books. And then 114 is basically 114 fighting the Shaggy Man. And of course, Hector Hammond's here too. This, of course, is the original Shaggy Man. Yep. Yeah. And was this his return? The answer is yes. He's back here for this issue, and he returns one more time after this in 106. Yeah, first time since issue 45 that he appeared, which is during the Bronze Age, which is basically his debut appearance. This only was his second appearance. That was released in June of 1966. This issue was released in February of 1973, roughly about 7 years later. And I want to think, oh, we're going to have a brand new member, and it's Elongated Man. Yep. And we also return of Red Tornado. And of course he joins the group. Yep. We also see the first appearance of Kathy Sutton. Who is Kathy Sutton, you might ask? Why, she's the future wife of Red Tornado under his identity of John Smith. Yep, that's pretty much who this character is. And she's basically here to be a supporting character for him. And she kind of the way appears sporadically in the book until issue 100. Does she appear in like some of his own books? Yes, she appears both the first and second volume for Red Tornado. She does return for 110 that's published in this book here. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, then we deal with T.R. Morrow in that issue. Then we have The Crisis on Earth X, which is basically the first appearance of the Freedom Fighters. Yep, the Freedom Fighters. This is basically their debut appearance. But the thing is, the Freedom Fighters are characters from Shelton Comics that are brought together by DC Comics. This is a similar vein what Marvel was doing over their company with the Invaders. Basically taking Golden Age characters who have never been here before in the original publication, form a team together. Comprised of Uncle Sam, Human Bomb, Doll Lady, Doll Man, Phantom Lady, Firebrand, this one just had Black Condor, Doll Man, Human Bomb, Phantom Lady, the Ray, and Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam, it's the same one for years. The Black Condor appearance in this book is the same one who appeared. This is a new version of the character who appeared in this very issue. How about Doll Man? This is the same one from Shelton Comics. Well, kind of. This new version of him. Mostly put this issue and the following issue, where it's like, oh yeah, we're invited to Earth X because the Nazis have won World War III. So, yeah, it's their team up with the JSA. You're like, really? It's not been very long. Yeah, so it's a quick two-parter, and the whole point of this two-parter, it's basically a backdoor pilot to a short-lived Freedom Fighters ongoing series that lasted for 15 issues, and it was the last thing Freedom Fighters published until around like 2008. I'm not kidding about that. So Hakim quits the team because he's regarded the Thanagar, and then in issue, and of course they have to deal with, get this, not only have to deal with Hawkman resigning, they also have to deal with Eclipso. Yep, Eclipso. And then 110, we deal with the character, The Key. Yep, The Key. Yeah, this is a return for the character, who last appeared in this very book back in issue 63. You're thinking, really? Yeah, that was his previous appearance, 63. Yeah, he's here for like just one issue and he's gone. And then like of course you also have the Phantom Stranger here too. 111 is basically the first appearance of the Injustice Gang of the World. And this group is basically comprised of known characters. There's like, believe it or not, there are two Batman villains, a Flash villain, an Atom villain, and a guy called the Tattoo Man. Is the same person villains for hire? No. Completely different character. This was the original version of the character. He is an enemy of Green Lantern, mostly put Hal Jordan. Shadow Thief was a part of the group too. He is a Hawkman villain. We did the first appearance of a character named Libra. Yes, a character Grant Morrison brought back for, of all things, Final Crisis. And here's the thing. After this one issue of Justice League, no one heard from this guy again until Justice League America, Volume 2, number 21. Yeah. Which, by the way, that came out in 2008. Yeah, basically, he was brought back for that, and this is the first appearance of the Injustice Gang of the World, the original version of the group. Yeah, basically, they're kind of like another Sacred Side suit villain. That's most of what they are. They appear for just this one issue here, and then they return in 143. Oh, by the way, their headquarters is a space station. Yes, the Injustice Gang satellite, which this actually was referenced in Batman Beyond, the one that's basically based in the comic universe of the DCAU. Yeah, for issue 118. Yeah, after this, he appears like one more time in this book with the team, and then he pops up a couple more times, and that's basically it for them. But I love the whole 112 thing with them taking on the Injustice Gang of the World, which is a really cool idea. And then 112, it's Return of Amazo, who gets destroyed this issue. Mostly put, he's basically brought in because he's reactivated. Apparently, he was in the trophy room. Yes. And then 113, it's another JSA team up, where they take on Sandy the Golden Boy. You're like, what? Yeah. But also this period of time, they have it where briefly, where I think it was one of the issues, it was issue 100, where they have Donna Troy. We have Diana Prince Wonder Woman without her Wonder Woman costume. Well, the reason why she's in the white suit is because of what's going on in her book at the time by Denny O'Neil. Sandy the Golden Boy become a monster in this issue. Yeah, and that's something that's like where it's somehow about powers, and he's kind of the way the main villain of the story. And this is the first time he actually had. This is the first time he normally have powers. Yeah, and this actually was his first appearance in the book. It had been a bit since his last appearance. Yeah, basically this was his sole appearance in this book. After that, he would never appear in this book ever again. But great set of issues. Love them. I give this book a 10 out of 10. Okay, so that's episode review. Next up, we're going to do one more comic corner, and then I'm going to go on to do the new anime, Tutu Monoxy Moonlit Fans. Okay, next video. Bye.